Hello, Music Multiverse listeners. Welcome to another album review Saturdays. This one is episode 8. We're 8 weeks into the new year. This show is an extension of our article section of the same name. In the video version, which we're in right now, this will go over the 3 originals on the website, but also add in some more reviews. And today, Dam joins me again. I don't know. I think she's becoming a regular. I don't know if she's like, maybe she's getting addicted to listening to all these new albums and figuring it out, right? It's an
Hmm.
addiction. It can
It
become.
is.
As long as I don't see you start piling them up back there, then we'll know that you're off your rocker. It's always good having her on. As always with us at Beyond Your Radio, it's any genre or style. Just a friendly reminder, if you haven't not subscribed yet, just 98% of the people that watch our show don't subscribe.
Hmm.
Please consider it, which is consider it with as much passion as we do picking these albums. If you're a subscriber, well, you know how this goes, so we'll just get the shit rolling, right? Here's
Yeah.
today's albums that are reviewed on the website. JJ Grey and Mofro, and that's the album Olustee. Monkey 3, Welcome to the Machine, and Amigo the Devil's latest, Yours Until the War is Over. And this week, I could not get my crud together due to opening a brand new state-of-the-art dentistry, which taking up all my time. So we're only going too deep on the additionals. So don't fast forward, though. These albums here today are quite the bangers in different ways. So let's start off right now with Monkey 3, Welcome to the Machine. Now, this is a progressive fusion rock instrumental band. And when I say progressive fusion, I say it in the fusioniest part I can think of, because they fuse with just about anything and everything. I don't think they left a drop unserved. They are from Switzerland, I believe, and they have been
Yes.
around since about maybe they're like 2000, 2001.
Yes.
If you had Rush, Pink Floyd, Genesis, and Animals as leaders, and throw in maybe some industrial type pro production in some cases, little backgrounds here and there, and you told them to have a wild orgy with your eyes closed and your ears open, and then secret bands coming in and out, take that any way you want.
Hmm.
That would be the where I categorize these guys, uncategorizable, technically. So these guys, drum, bass, guitar, keys, and sounds.
Down.
So, yeah, I make sounds.
You
So,
do.
yes. So a complete blistering record. It's got everything from drum solos, guitar solos, dipping in and out, melodic rock, progressive tendency, especially in the keys. I don't know if there's long songs on this, if I recall correctly. I was listening to this as one giant piece.
Hmm.
I do believe it would have some sort of um, thematic to it throughout,
Hmm.
but I thought it was ridiculously good. Probably, up there with some of the albums I've heard this year in the progressive nature of instrumental. But let's find out what Deb thought about this Monkey 3.
Monkey 3. Well, luckily, I reached out to you yesterday to find out why I couldn't find them because I was calling them something else. I don't remember what I was calling
I
them.
think you were spelling monkey in space 3 when it was Monkey 3, all one word, right? I think
Correct.
that's
Yes, with
right.
the
And of course,
numeric 3.
and I probably didn't give you the name of the album. I just said Monkey 3.
Yeah. Well, no, you gave it to me because I thought, oh, welcome to the machine. Oh. Pink Floyd. So, no, I enjoyed it. I found it, I'm not normally gravitated towards instrumental only, but this was very well done, very familiar in a lot of ways and unfamiliar as well, which makes it more interesting.
Mhm.
You can tell that they tour a lot in Germany. They've got a lot of German, and I know Switzerland is basically part of Germany. Don't get mad at me, Swiss
Yeah.
people, but um I found them interesting as far as the types of bands that they've toured alongside with, and some of the names of them, like Alabama Thunder Pussy. That's an interesting one. Don't know
Yeah.
them, but I might
Yeah.
be interested in listening to them. Definitely Pink Floyd is an influence here. The
Yeah.
one song Collapse, very Pink Floydish, but I was saying to Mark, you can hear some Phil Collins drums in there, in the air tonight, which is interesting because obviously Genesis was a prog band, but I after Gabriel left, I found them going more to the pop side.
Yes. Yeah. No question. Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel that classic prog, but they move in and out of like that space odyssey type thing. Sound it just Some of their music sounds like a soundtrack from some cosmic thing like Matrix or something like that.
Yeah, it's a good
That
mention because I didn't say space rock. There is a lot of space rock in this type
Yeah.
of space progressive rock, I guess.
And there's only, I think, 6 songs on it. I believe. I don't I
Yeah. What is the
they're but they are long. They do kind of flow in, like if you're just listening and not really paying attention to the song catalog, you might not notice that a new song has started. Not that they all sound totally the same either. They just, I would say the album flow is very good if I was going to have to rate it in that way. Um,
mhm.
I really liked Rack Man. It's a really great song. So, yeah, they've been around for 23 years, never heard of them, but I hope they get more listeners and followers because of you, Mark.
Hey, it's just, maybe this funny thing is, right? So how did I pick this, right? Is
Hmm.
I want to say that's the Hellraiser cube on the cover. So I'm like,
Yes,
well,
yes.
um, I think I
Yeah,
have to listen to that, even
yeah,
though
you're right.
I don't. Anytime Hellraiser's like, on, and I think there's like 6 movies or something like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like, do I really want to watch it? Is this kind of like their grossest movies ever?
But I
And
have
and they
to. Like,
really, what's the theme? Oh, hell's coming. Oh well, maybe we're
it's
already in
like
hell.
it's a train wreck.
But
You
yes,
can't look
yeah,
away.
yeah. So I'm like, kind of a cool cover, spacey. All right, I'll give it a shot. So obviously, when I say that, I had no idea who these people were,
Mhm.
and it's 20 years plus, and this is a
Wow.
testing to the whole idea of can you listen to everything? No, you can't. And if
Right.
somebody says they can, they're in one genre, if only. And
Yes.
and speaking of that, let us shift genre for sure,
Yeah.
um, to J.J. Gray and Mofro, Southern Soul Rock. Okay, all right. I do know the band. They started off as Mofro. I think for some reason,
Mhm.
I don't remember what the reasons were. It's
I
maybe you
do.
can tell me.
He
Okay, go
added
ahead.
his name because his grandmother shamed him into it and said, what are you ashamed of what your mom and dad named you? So he added
Yeah.
his name.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Because
because of grandma.
I
That's a good Southern boy.
yeah, listen, and when you first heard JJ Gray, Mo Throwback, it was Southern rock, soul,
Yeah.
definitely got it, did that, and um, I think they've opened for Galactic, so they definitely get down into that scene, right?
Hmm.
So I think this record is rising above that level of I think they've always said something like that, or other people have told me that their live performances are better than the albums.
Yes.
Now I haven't seen them live, but I've always liked the albums, but I've not gravitated to, God, that's catchy. I love that. His voice is very good.
Hmm.
It's never tremendous, but it
Right.
holds. the keys, it makes a delivery, and he can go here or he can go over here. He can do
Mhm.
a so in this record, the piano additions to me are that which is bringing me into a new wonderment, right?
Yes.
I'm now I'll say this if perhaps and I'm not a professional with this band. I've never, listened to every single record, but could it be that the Elvis, not Elvis, damn it, wrong guy. Uh, Elton John has possessed this young man or older man. I don't know what his age is, but
Yeah, I
Elton
don't.
John to me, Bernie Taupin, there are a couple songs on here. The end song is killer. It
Yes.
should be on radio. I don't know why it hasn't been picked up. It could be the best song of the year.
1,000 times I'm hanging by a thread, but I believe it from the highest high and lowest low. I'm holding on deeper than belief.
For sure. And here I am talking about it. I don't even know the name. That's sad. Um, Deep or something.
Yeah.
Help me out. But I would say that the studio here is elevated. The ballad songwriting is fantastic. There's all there, you got your rooster, that's your bluesy southern rock,
Yeah.
flavored thing. But the stuff in the middle on this album, Olustee, is top notch. If I was gonna say, have a catalog review of this band right now, this would be my number one album for sure. It's memorable completely. But I want to say the first half to the second half. The second half is what I remember more of. Although for some stupid reason I can't remember the last song. But go
Deeper
ahead,
the
Deb.
belief. I think it's deeper the belief.
Deeper the belief. Hang on.
Deeper than belief.
Deeper than belief. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes. Deeper
God,
than
so
belief.
well
Yeah.
written, and yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
More
have
on
to.
more on killer endings later.
Okay. Well, I have to agree that this is a different level for them. The piano stuck out to me the same, where all of a sudden I went, that's something new that I would never equate with the band as one of their strengths was piano. There's a lot of horns on this album as well.
Oh yeah, that too. Yes, yes.
And the female vocals add to that crossover like a little bit more to maybe some R&B that they hadn't touched
Yeah,
on
the R&B
before.
soul. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Um yeah, and I've always liked them because of their marrying of blues and funk, but there's way more funk influence in this particular album than I recall in their past ones. Um Very danceable. Wonderland is a more funky song, more uplifting, not the kind of blues where, that people think of that don't really listen to blues. They have their opinion of why they don't like blues, and it's usually because you think that you're singing about, you lost your girlfriend and your dog and all that. But it's not that kind of blues at all. Top of the World, I noticed a Joe Cocker feeling all right kind of influence there. I just kept, and that song's a great song in it itself. So, you can't help but feel all right when you listen to
Mm,
it, correct?
yeah,
The title track, that's very Southern rock.
yeah.
The harmonica is very forward in that song. I love it. It just reminds me of who they always were, but not that they have to stay in that lane. They're obviously Floridians. I got attracted to this band because I had a friend um, who was really into them. He passed away in a motorcycle accident about 10 years ago, but I had a connection through him, through work, and also his siblings. He came from a huge family of like 11 kids, and they all went to DeSales. The youngest one was friends with my son, and then he had even siblings older than him, and he was like one of the middle kids, but he was
Mhm.
a big influence that I got into this band while he was here. And every time I listen to it, it's like a tribute to him. And I wonder, how do you feel about this album? I think he would approve. Um, so I would say it's a great bonfire friendly album, but also after you had a little bit of moonshine and you want to get up and dance. So that's my take on JJ
Yeah,
Grey.
I'm looking for the I when I first saw the title, I'm like, what is swamp boat kind of thing? Are we going to get really deep in the reeds here? And it did not turn out that way. And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely worth everyone's listen. Blues, all right. So what most people's problem with the blues is they're going to believe, oh yeah, the blues, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
It's
And
not
okay,
that.
yes, they're okay. And some of those greats do the dun, 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 dun,
Mhm.
dun. But the fact of the matter is, there are people that do it a hell of a lot more than that with it, and bringing it. You know, blues is a foundation. It doesn't have to be the standard. And
Correct.
it's almost like jazz and contemporary, contemporary jazz,
Yeah.
adult contemporary jazz, blues, contemporary blues versus electric blues versus swamp blues versus fusion blues. Oh my God, too much blues. Um, so anyway, yeah, a great record. Definitely going to be in there for albums of the year, I think, for me. That last song, oh my Lord, so
Mhm.
well done. And throughout the record, the like you had the background singers and the horns, and it's just things you don't expect to come out a little bit, and they're well
Exactly.
placed, very well.
Yes.
Yeah, big sound.
Agreed.
All right, well, now we're gonna go into, and this band has been talked about on this channel once before because they opened for Clutch. This is Amigo the Devil, yours until the war is over. And so if you've seen Amigo the Devil, you know what to expect. But I don't think you were expecting this. This is a darker record. This is not darker for funny. He loves to do darker for funny.
Mhm.
Some places of this record, I didn't feel that. I felt like he was speaking dark to speak dark. And there's a lot of speaking on this record more than singing in some cases.
Mhm.
Um, so you get hanging by the roots. This is pure Amigo the Devil. And a good opener because it feels like Amigo the Devil. And then we go from there. Now, again, you get to the parts that are fantastically comical yet dark, which Once Upon a Time at a
Huh?
Texaco Part One. Now,
Yep.
obviously, maybe there wasn't going to be a part two because it didn't seem like it ended very well. No one wants to die in a Texaco. So anyway, you'll get the idea that you're in for the ride that you're normally in for, but there are some moments in here that have me maybe going back. Barrel and Staghorn, I don't know what that is. I don't know why it's there. I had trouble with that. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But now, when I said ready for another ender, Closer, which closes the record, is another one of those ending songs. It's not really a song. It is a statement. It's a very, maybe 4.5 minute statement, but
Mhm.
it really remains to me to be very true as to what's going on today. I don't know whether this was how to end this or where this all came from. Again, when I write these reviews or I talk about these things, I don't go and read other people's things. So, having
Right.
said that, I'm going to give it to Deb because I know this is the first time she's ever listened to Amigo.
Yeah. And I try not to read any reviews until after I've come up with my own feel for something, especially if it's a band I've never listened to. Definitely a virgin to this band. Um, I don't know if you know the backstory on this, but in the fall, the lead who I don't know the name of the lead singer
I mean,
the music.
he's Amigo the. I mean, there's
Okay,
when I
right.
saw them live and I saw them open for Clutch, it's him, and he's maybe got band members. I don't know where they come in and out or whatnot, but he's it. I mean, he's the reason there is. So,
Well, he was in an almost fatal car incident in the fall where his new truck, but it was a vintage truck. He had only had it for a while, caught on fire and he didn't know what
hmm.
to do. And it really influenced the songs that he was writing. And just about he was a control freak all of his life, and just kind of having to come to grips with there's certain things you don't have control over. So why are you spending so much time on that? But I think it made him a little bit more reflective, and that's where some of the darkness is coming here, which I did get. But since I didn't know this band, I didn't notice that it was any darker from their previous recordings. So it didn't really impact me the way it maybe did with you. I did hear some whimsical stuff in it when you're not really just listening to the words, like It's All Gone. That's very whimsical. Then I'm Going to Heaven was almost like Rocky Horror is Going West.
Was crying. He put a pistol up to his temple and smiled. Oh, I was born to serve the Savior, to make sure Jephthah's promises paid for. Now that my job here is done, I'm going to heaven. That's a fact. Oh, I'm going to heaven, and I won't come back.
I was waiting for somebody to start, throwing things, and and then the Once Upon a Time Texaco one, that's like Mumford and Sons decided they're going to go to Mexico on a trip or something. Like I could just feel Mumford and Sons in the beginning, and then it was them, Amigo the Devil. But and then there's Johnny Cash kind of in Garden
Yeah,
of
big Johnny
Reading.
Cash. Big Johnny Cash in this record. Yes.
Yes. And
A vaudevillian, I always say like a
yes,
vaudevillian Johnny Cash.
yes, exactly. Vaudevillian is a great word, because like you had mentioned something to me when you chose the bands last time I talked to you, and you had said something along that line. So yeah, I can hear a little like vaudeville, Benny Hill, that whimsical part of it, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So I guess what if you go back and there's nothing on this album that compares to that. I mean, you could say that Once Upon a Time at the Texaco or I'm Going to Heaven, because he's playing on this. He went to hell to go see who was going, and then he wanted to go back up, and
Yeah.
and just plays on words, and it's comical to that degree. That's the same as Bingo. Okay. If you go back and you listen to the song Bingo, that's his, like, he's at the bingo hall and he's casing the joint, and he finds out that, he wants to see who the big threat is. And he goes, oh, it's me. So he's all, it's you're high on your horse, and you're,
Yeah.
it's wonderfully played, but there are some, like, I'm lost in a couple, again, Barrel and Staghorn,
Yeah.
Virtue and Vitriol. God, say it right, Mark.
Vitriol.
Caught me a little off guard, and I kind of wondered what was happening. Cannibal Within,
Yeah.
dark, drug
Yes.
addiction kind of thing, and
Yeah.
but they were being whimsical to a tad bit in there, but yeah.
Well, I have found that when people face those kind of demons and those kinds of things in their life, a lot of times it's humor and satire and sarcasm that gets you through.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're in a hole of nastiness. But where are they from?
I mean, I believe that it's, Danny Karanos,
Yes.
Kranos, something like that.
Yeah.
He is basically the singer, the songwriter, the guitarist, the banjo player, influenced obviously by American folk and Johnny Cash, and
Mm-hmm.
his themes of murder, death, and dark subject matter have always been there, but it normally has this, I don't know, it's more playful than, and he always apologizes because the one song is about a kid getting murdered, and he, I'm gonna kill you, it's really dark, but he, even when he's doing it live, he's even making fun of it while he's on live.
Mm-hmm.
So Miami, Florida.
Okay, another Florida, JJ Gray. Aren't they from Florida?
Yeah, I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that one song on that album is Seminole, which the
yeah,
Seminoles
which
are.
I thought was a cover when I was first hearing it. I'm like, why does that
Yeah,
sound
me.
familiar?
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too. I couldn't put
but
my finger on it
I
though.
couldn't. Yeah, I started to think like Freebird, but that's not right.
No,
But
no,
that
it
was
was something
where my
else,
mind
but I
went
know what you're
anyway, right?
saying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so what are these two extras for you? All right, so the one extra has been doing this now for 42 years, maybe.
Yeah, 1981.
42. Wait,
1981, 43.
43 years. 43 years.
Mhm.
Honeymoon Suite of Canada, new record, Alive. Now, I'm not saying I'm surprised they're alive. I've known they've been alive because they play live shows all the time, and not around here lately in Buffalo that I've noticed. Maybe we did something to offend the band. I'm not sure. Hey, maybe it was me. But new record, and I've always looked forward to a new Honeymoon Suite record. Why?
Mhm.
Because by God, the '80s, they should have been massive.
Yeah.
And not only that, in the '90s, people like Michael Mann from Miami Vice were using their songs in the
Yeah.
shows.
Yes.
So, I mean, and they never really lost it. Although I'm at a position where I believe there is some loss. The vocals don't reach that, and I'm not that I was expecting it, but I thought we were trying to get to that. Now this is melodic, uh, more rock than hard rock. The hard rock seems to have has gone astray a bit.
Mhm.
Production here is still pretty good. I wasn't bombastically thrown that it was better than what I've listened to in the past. Which I really Monsters Under the Bed.
Yeah. That was their
That
third album, I think. Yeah.
or
Some
fourth, maybe fourth, somewhere
maybe.
on there. That was the last one that I really felt
Mhm.
epitomized the band. And there's a
Mhm.
couple of like singles in those other records that were good, and there's some things here and there. This one, I couldn't find anything that I was drawn to that I would have put on radio that I could say people would be going to the band to see when they're probably gonna. I would imagine they're gonna show up at one of these Buffalo venues that are going to be free or in the park or in the square or on the beach
Right.
or at a phone booth near you. So, Deb, what say you on Honeymoon Suite?
Your pretty eyes, they hide the lies. They've only ever tried to steal my thunder.
Well, I was disappointed because obviously when they formed in 81, it was right at the peak time that I was forming my own musical opinions about things, and not to mention that they're from Niagara Falls, Canada, which I could basically look out my bedroom window and see at the time. So I was disappointed. I
One of
had
the albums is Clifton Hill.
I
It's
know it
titled
is
Clifton
Clifton
Hill,
Hill.
which
Yeah,
we've
go
all
to
been
the
on, right?
let's go to the Wax Museum, people. So
Yeah.
yeah, I I could hear I could tell it was Honeymoon Suite. It just was a watered down version for me. It the one song, well, there were a few songs that were reminiscent of their early stuff, and Give It All had that Def Leppard feel to it, which um there were a couple songs on this album that I felt a Def Leppard type
Well, I would
undertone
have
to it.
considered them the Def Leppard of Canada for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
kind of like
And
in the
so,
pop sense, not the hard rock Def
correct,
Leppard, right? You know, the
correct.
yeah, pour some sugar
And
on me kind of thing.
yeah, and I thought that perhaps this album coming out at this stage of their career might be their attempt to invite some younger audience members to their side of the world. And I could see they were attempting to, because their one song Broken, it still sounded like them, but it sounded more contemporary of what's coming out of some of the bands these days. But it never got to that. It never actually got to the finish line for me. So when you first had said this was going to be one of the three main songs, and you called and said what you felt about moving it down the list, I was in total agreement. I was disappointed because out of all the bands that we're reviewing today, I only knew two. And I was pleasantly surprised that JJ Grey was as good as it was, but then I was equally as disappointed with this.
Well, I mean, it'll be interesting if we get a chance to see them live
Yeah.
this year if they're coming. they're 80s and they're just the bangers songs, and they could have,
Mhm.
I mean, hell, they're Lethal Weapon. That's their song.
Yeah,
How do come on.
exactly.
So to finish this up, and we're only doing two, like I said, I thought we'd go to Idols. Let's get across the pond and get some. And don't get me wrong, when I say punk rock, these guys are not punk rock. These guys are everywhere in the punk rock. They are you don't know what you're going to get when you open the packaging and put the CD on. Obviously, I was a huge fan of Ultramono in 2020. I mean, I am still playing that record to this day. I can't get Grounds out of my head. Just great lyrical fun with everything. I did get that in some of this than the prior album in between. This is their fifth studio album. I think the band has complete and utter control now. I don't think they have to, considering their following and their live shows and how respected they are. I think there were songs here that delivered that way. And of course, when you're a British band, it's hard to escape the club. You want to get in the club somehow, and sometimes you grab you don't grab LSD, you grab LCD sound system, and you say, hey, give me a little I don't know, give me a little Prodigy, and maybe people can dance to it, we can groove to it instead of slamming each other in the mosh pit, which is fun too, unless you're 4'9". So what does Deb say of Tang?
Well,
It's
I had
TANGK, by the way.
GK, yes. I had never heard of this band. I never would have found them on my own. Um, and when I knew that they were from the punk scene, kind of. I didn't really know which punk scene. So after I listened to it, obviously I read about them a little bit and, Clash and Joy Division and things like that. But I found this more mellow and pleasing than the the punk that I would have associated them with. Um, and the one song that did stand out to me, even though I didn't spend tons of time with my undivided attention listening to this album, the one that did stand out was Pop, Pop, Pop. That really went techno, which was so interesting to me that this punk band is enjoying some techno influences, and it made it more fun. And I liked it. I liked the album. I would listen to it again.
Freud on Freud, joy on joy, cheerleader, happy boy, strong like bull, vulnerable, keep my people up, that's my tool.
In more depth, but yeah, I don't know them from, their prior albums, so I don't have anything to actually, I guess, critique it against. But for me, it was well worth a listen.
Yeah, there are several songs on there that have what you're looking for from them, I think, from
Hmm.
past recordings. Pop Pop
Okay.
Pop would definitely be in there. A gospel, kind of a cool
Yeah.
change of pace. I don't know. I'm still getting into this a little bit more. I think it's going to grow on me to some degree.
Hmm.
But sometimes when you write such a record, sometimes the next couple for me become difficult. And that's like with Elbow. It takes me a longer time to appreciate them after, Grounds for Divorce and the album that came after. Well, the Seldom Seen Kid, and then the album that came after, which like, for some reason can't remember off the top of my head. That you get into it and you're like, gosh, you're looking for the next song in growth of that. And with Idols, I think it's more sporadic. I think they're doing they get something else grabs them and they do
And
something
then they
and they
move.
do it with but they do it really well and it's catchy. And I think if I would have put this on more, I would have been more attuned to what they were going with, right? But there
Hmm.
was just nothing on this record at the start where I went, oh, here we go. Here we go.
Got it.
There's musical parts that are here we go. Lyrical parts from they're going to be I'm going to have to listen longer to gravitate to catching it apparently. But
Makes
there's
sense.
nothing here that has that angst. There's what it there's
Yeah,
the angst on
yeah,
this record is not there
yeah.
for me. And that's kind of what it's missing. But I certainly like the band and what they do. I'd love to see them live. I don't know if they'll come across the pond. I imagine they will. I would definitely go see, especially considering I know the crowd will be into it for sure.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, I want to thank Deb for doing this again. Obviously, she's I don't know if she's a regular. We'll see.
Well, I
I,
have
I'm
to say, I wanted to tell you, Mark, out of all the shows that we do, this is beyond my favorite
oh cool.
because I get to during the week listen to a lot of different types of things that I never would. I also
Right.
know that I don't have to have a test at the end, so I don't take my homework as serious as maybe I do when it's like, oh, I picked this particular thing, so now I got to really sell my point and get everybody to come over to my side. I really enjoy it, and the more I
Yeah,
can do it.
and you don't have to feel pressured to write.
That's right. I don't. I just get to listen to you and then go, yeah, that's what I'm going to say. No, I have my own critiques too, but I enjoy it. So thank you for letting me participate.
Cool. Check us out on beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All our stuff is everywhere, and especially on YouTube. Coming up tomorrow on Unknown Sundays, Love in Reverse. Next week, Tuesday's albums from The Leaf, and Thursday, Album Listen Challenge. Two very different eras and Oxymoxoa and Silent Radar. Don't know those albums? Look them up. Good luck to both of the panelists, Jeff Young and Grateful Dude, on that one. Go beyond your radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Until next time, and thanks for watching. Happy listening.
Bye.